Speaking of teams that wore blue today. Oh boy. Oh boy. What a banger this was. My United States men are undefeated in Pool C. Before you in the chat start to try and knock me down off of anything ever for any reason, my team is undefeated in the best pool in the tournament. A 5-set win over Germany. We went up 2-0. We actually bullied them so hard in set number 2 that they made some pretty significant changes, namely bringing in Johannes Tila into set. And then Germany looked pretty damn good after that. They brought it to 5, and the unlikely hero, or the unlikely heroes, I'll make it plural, is the 2 American middle blockers from the baseline. Max Holt and Taylor Averill with 6 aces combined, and Max Holt with a 5-0 run in the 5th that really won us the match.
Yeah, the Daddy Gang really showed up.
Hell yeah.
As you said, Taylor Averill, 4 aces, Max Holt, those 2 back-to-back pinners, just absolutely sniping out there. Really turn the tides, or help the momentum come back in your guys' favor in that 5th set. I think there's a lot of positives to take from this American performance. First off, the domination in the first 2 sets was palpable. Like, Micah was in his bag. Like, you guys were moving and grooving, and it was happening. A lot of avenues were open for your hitters. But then things did change in sets 3 and 4. Like you said, Tila came in, and I know just how much Tila can put a team on skates. When he comes in off the bench, he has one of those releases that he holds the ball just a touch longer in his hands, and it just fakes everyone out, and it just provides one-on-ones everywhere. Maurice Karlichek was really one of the big recipients. So was Anton Brema. Brema down in the middle was
awesome,
looking lethal. But USA came to play too. I thought, once again, I think that Taylor Averill has been the most consistent American player through the first 2 games. I think that he has shown up to play, and I absolutely love that for him. Like, the fact that he's out there and he's getting to start and he's being as impactful as he has been incredible. It was, I would say, a pretty good USA win today. I think they got a little bit lucky with the way that Max Holt was at the end of that game, but all in all, it was a pretty good USA win.
Yeah, so I knew, everyone in the Discord was giving me a real hard time about as Germany started to flip the script in sets 3 and 4, like how I was thinking and feeling. And I'm a sports fan. We've all been there before. We were up 2-0, and the other team started to push us back. I was losing my mind at 6 a.m. sitting here in this very chair. That's sports, man. It's the Olympic Games. Like, this is the big stage, and this is big drama, and I have stake in the game, and I was feeling it. I was going through it on both ends. We looked awesome in 2 sets, and I was like, man, am I going to be able to go back to sleep after this? But when we were up big in the second, we were up 17-10, and Johannes Tila came in. I'm like, God damn it, there's no way we're winning this in 3. There is no way. This little kid is going to come in. I shouldn't call him a kid. Johannes Tila, I was surprised that he didn't start the very beginning of the tournament. Germany went 7-0 in Olympic qualifiers in one of the great upsets of all time, with him starting every single game. I was very surprised that Winiarski went away from that. And now after the performance they put up today, there's no way they can go back to Kampa. No chance.
We always do this. It just kind of seems like people forget about Johannes Tila, and then everyone's just like, ooh, Kampa.
Oh, wait.
And I do understand. Kampa has an aura about him. Like, he's a dude. There's that one clip of us in Ottawa. What was it, the first year, the second year?
Yeah, the first year. I remember that.
Like, Kampa's a dude. Like, he's a dude. I'm sure if you're a woman and you're around Kampa, like, you feel it in your ovaries type of thing. Just like, he's so good. He's just a very good looking man, and he's just very suave. But yeah,
Tila has that team in his hands, and
he always. Yeah, like, I really don't understand it. Once again, he was the guy that got you there, and he was the guy that got you here again.
So Germany, to me, Germany is a very legitimately good team, and they did a lot of things today that I was really impressed by. That wasn't just feeding Grozer the ball like they kind of did.
You guys are the same team.
You
guys sort of in a lot of ways, yes. Like you've got pretty good setters. You're strong down the middle. Obviously, you guys have a better setter than them. You're strong down the middle, and you've got a good compartment of left sides, and you've got an old aging opposite who's good in the first set and declines after that.
That was very much the case for Matt Anderson today. I mean, the way that he played through the first set and a half, I was like, oh man, yeah, we've
I
got
was
this.
like, "Yo, Matt Anderson's back. This
Yeah,
is Zepchev. Sorry, there's the zero bank Matt Anderson. This is the Matt Anderson we know and love."
yeah,
And
that was
then it
that
just
was what I was waiting to see, and then we kind of fell back into that same concern that I've had, where it wasn't aggressive enough, it wasn't terminal enough, and he would just take a 80% pace swing off the top of the hands and get slowed down, and they would run it back down our throats. I mean, Germany's blocking, I think the level of blocking in sets 3 and 4 completely changed, because their attackers were completely shredding all of our blockers in all positions. We could not get a positive block touch anywhere. It was driving me insane. Like, Moritz Reichert didn't swing downwards a single time in the second half of that match. He was swinging for the back row of the arena and was extremely effective in doing so. And then Moritz Karlitzek, like, I don't know where he learned how to play that consistently. I don't think we put enough pressure on him in the reception game, but on offense, he was absolutely unstoppable. And we couldn't figure out the angles on how to slow him down at all. And then on the other side, every swing that Matt Anderson took, like, basically produced a free ball for Germany, and that was definitely concerning. But and Anton Brema started to run circles around both of our middle blockers. Didn't like that either.
I don't know if he was necessarily running circles around both your middle blockers, because it didn't seem like there wasn't a block presence. Like, he wasn't getting one on O's all the time, but
he wasn't challenged, and then he got one-on-one block against Averill late in the fourth, and I was like, oh no, we're in actual trouble here.
Yeah, two things for me. I think that really USA took their foot off the gas in sets 3 and 4, and I do partially think that's because of the stress that they were under in their defensive game once Tila came on. That everything was different, and now. This is Rob. This is going to be the part that you won't like, because I'm going to bring up something that I know you won't like. Now, at the beginning of this summer, the U.S. was the first team to announce their roster for this Olympic Games, right? At the time, and I fully agreed with you on this, you said that it was a good idea because then you had like the defined roles of this team. Given how the rest of the summer went and how things are going now, do you wish that John Speraw had maybe waited and watched and felt things out to have announced that roster? Because you can't deny that having someone on the bench in the opposite position would be really, really nice right now, right? You can't deny that being able. Now, I am not at all suggesting that Matt Anderson should start on the bench, and I'm not at all suggesting that Anderson should finish on the bench. But as we've both seen now, his output in the first set is much different than his output at the end of the game, right? 6 points in the first set of 14 total. After that, he was nowhere near efficient. It went down, as you said. Not to mention his passing went down significantly. Not only was he getting aced, but he was passing quite a few balls off the net, forcing Mike Christensen to run around, right? I think that especially right now, the U.S. would benefit from having someone like Jake Haynes who can come in and take some volume and help open up the offense. And I don't understand why with this hate for Jake Haynes. The only 2 times he got to start in the VNL this year, he dropped like 23 and 31. Jake Haynes in 2 matches scored like 20 less points than Matt Anderson scored in like 6 or 7. And like almost 8. Like these are real stats here. Like, this is a guy that consistently can score points, consistently can drop 20, was almost a 5-point per set guy in the Plusliga, and can take up. Like, you guys, like this is all great and nice for going up against Germany and like Germany, Japan, and Argentina. But once you come up against Poland or France or Italy,
and you think, okay, I'm going to
no,
stop
but no,
here.
but no, but no, but listen,
you're done.
Yes,
you're done
yes,
with this.
Yes,
take.
I think
you're
Jake Haynes can come in. I think Jake Haynes can come in, put some points on the board.
Ridiculous
No.
Don't
Don't do your.
He
No,
had
I
those good
think it's
performances against Bulgaria and Turkey. And then you want to call on him in an Olympic Games elimination game against Poland?
yes, this is a dude who plays in the
No.
Bundesliga and plays against these players. You can't say that Jake Haynes isn't an international level player. He absolutely is. And once again, you don't need him for a lot. You just need him for like maybe one rotation a set. You just need a little bit of relief for Matt Anderson, right? You need him to be fresh at the end of the game and to be terminal at the end of the game. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you rely on Jake Haynes to be your guy. No, but I'm saying you need a little bit of backup there because you need a little bit of help. Jake Haynes is a legitimate scorer who blocks well, like puts up a solid block and can hit a good ball out of system. I
This
think he would have been I think it would have been a massive asset to
I'm
this team.
squashing this right now. This is completely ridiculous. First of all, there's a reason why Jake Haynes was not even named the alternate. Second of all, those good performances that you talked about earlier in the summer were against Turkey and Bulgaria. Turkey finished dead last in VNL and fired their coach. This is the Olympic Games. Jake Haynes is not dynamic enough to be a legitimate factor in the Olympic Games, and that's why he's not on the roster. That's okay. Also, Matt Anderson's issues are not related to conditioning. Him being conservative is by his choice in play style. He's too conservative by the way that he chooses to attack the ball. It does not appear to be fatigue to me.
I would
And
disagree.
again, this is the
Like
Olympic
if you
Games. You
if
have
you
2
look
days
at
off in between matches. Fatigue should not be a factor.
but yet we're seeing fatigue in the two oldest players in the tournament. Right. And now like there has been a notable difference in both Matt Anderson and Gregor Grozier from last fall's Olympic qualifying tournament, which is kind of wild to think about when you think about they both of them had to play like a VNL and then a NORCECA championships and then Olympic qualifier, and that they were in the state that they were in and played as well as they did at the time. Like that's a little bit wild.
That's why I'm saying
But
it's not conditioning. It's just the way Matt Anderson plays. And no, I don't disagree with Sparod naming the roster when he did. I don't disagree with him bringing one opposite. We beat a good team today with Matt Anderson invisible for 2 sets.
yeah, but you beat a good team, not a great team.
And
Rob,
so you think that Jake Haynes is going to push us over the top to beat a
yes,
great
because
team?
I
That's
think
insane.
he would allow Matt Anderson to be more effective at the end of a game.
So
And that's
you're saying that we should throw 2 games and
no,
then
you
bring Matt
wouldn't throw
Anderson in for the 5th?
I think Jake Haynes can score you 2 points. I think Jake
Matt
Haynes
Anderson
could
can score 2 points.
yeah, but he can score you 2 points in sets 3 or 4 while Jake Haynes is doing it for a little bit and then score you 1 in the 5th or score you 3 in the 5th. And that's the difference that I'm looking for. Once again, like Rob, I'm on your side here. My team might not win a game. So I'm defaulting to your team to like to go on and win a gold medal, like to defend NORCECA North America. You like my biggest worry right now is that this team is going to run out of gas against the best teams in the tournament. Is that against the top elite teams, the 3 that are above them, they're going to run out of gas because Matt Anderson can't get it done in the 5th.
Again, I really don't think it's fatigue. I think it's play style choice, and that's I've complained about this for Matt Anderson. I've pointed it out as a potential weakness, and so far in the Olympics, it has shown up as a potential weakness. He is too conservative, especially out of system. He hits 80% speed shots off the top of the block and gets slowed down, which is why in the 5th set today, he wasn't the guy who we were going to, and that both of those 2 guys, one in particular, were TJ DeFalco and even more so Aaron Russell. And if Aaron Russell plays as well as he has through 2 matches, then we don't need Matt Anderson to be the guy. Aaron Russell has been absolutely outstanding. He was amazing today.
And you need
15 for 28 with only 2 errors plus an ace serve, 16 points on sky high efficiency.
You need Aaron Russell to be good and steady too, because as like DeFalco has been fantastic. However,
statistically, yes.
Exactly. Statistically, DeFalco has been fantastic. And highlights wise, he has been outstanding, right? The dude is like a walking fucking highlight reel. It's so fun to watch him.
Awesome.
But there was tense moments there at the end of the 4th and beginning of the 5th when it looked like DeFalco was breaking down a little bit. And
emotionally, yes, that's true.
Which he has been known to do. I mean, it is part of it's as soon as you put on that Resovia jersey, it just kind of like seeps into you, and it kind of gets into you. But Fat Ron is going to have to be so good and just emotionally steady for this team, right?
Well,
Like
mission
there's
accomplished so far. He has
mission,
been that. He's been all that and more through 2 matches against two
yeah,
good teams.
absolutely. Because there's a lot of people who are going to look for to like for those sparks, and DeFalco does that in his own ways. Shoji does that in his own ways. Micah does it in his own ways, and Aaron like just needs to stay so steady and to just be their pillar. And if he can continue doing that, I think this team can go far.
Another thing that I'd kind of like to see is in those rotations, because Matt and TJ are going to continue to line up next to each other. In those rotations, when both are in the back court, set TJ more D balls. Like, give us more of a right side presence attacking the court. I think TJ had one today that I can remember, and he killed it cross court out of the back row on the right side. But I
Yeah,
want to use those rotations when you have Matt receiving and hitting Bick, which he's very good at and is threatening, to get TJ one-on-ones, because that's not a place where blockers are going to be leaning, particularly against Japan in our next match. I think that's an excellent matchup to use. I
yeah,
really want to see TJ start to get a little bit of a rhythm and get some comfort on the right side, because who knows, we might need him there down the line. And just in those rotations, it's something that's valuable to us because of the versatility of Matt Anderson. So I want to see that a little bit more, definitely. And I would like to continue to do what the United States has always done, and that's prioritizing running the offense as much as possible down the middle of the court. And
yeah.
we continue to do that extremely well. Both Averill and Holt were awesome today. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And the Bick was a presence. So I'm very happy with that part of the offense. And the left side, too. I thought our left side offense was pretty good. Russell in
Pretty good.
particular.
I think it was fantastic.
Yep.
I do think that I don't know if Micah got rattled in the third when Tila came on, but all of a sudden his location and his timing and his rhythm with his hitters went off. Like him in the third set, like he was consistently setting behind Matt Anderson. Like there was consistently tight balls. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but he did manage to get it back. But I would like to see him. One thing that I think led to Germany being so successful in the third and the fourth is that they did have Karlichek who's going off, but it's not like, you know, I think TJ and Aaron were playing just as good on the left side, but I think Tila was being a little bit more strategic in when he was using Grozier and putting Grozier into situations where he was really able to be successful. And it was
Agreed.
like, yo, I'm just laying this up for you. Whereas I kind of felt like sometimes Anderson was just used as an outlet, as like he was only used when he was like really needed, as opposed to putting him in a situation to succeed. And I think if Micah was able to do that a little bit more with him, it would up his efficiency and help him out a little bit more. And
And
especially
just
since he's
keep his confidence high to have the willingness to terminate. I mean, there was
yeah,
a swing that Matt took in the second set on the left side that he hammered 4-4 to like 8 feet. And I'm like, okay, that's Matt Anderson seeing a shot and using his elite physical tools to terminate and hit a world-class ball and literally like legitimately go out and score a point, like that sort of thing. And I totally agree with you. I think giving him looks where he feels the opportunity and the confidence to go do that, to be aggressive and take big swings to score points, is only going to be a good thing when it comes down to an overtime situation or a fifth set where you need a point from the right side. And Matt, if he's been silent for 3 sets, which today he was by the time we got to the fifth, then he's just, because of his play style,
you need to keep him oiled up and warm, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Matt is it's just the way that Matt plays right now, that he prefers to not lose versus to win. That is the way that he thinks about his game right now, pretty clearly based on his offensive choices. So
I would disagree in the fact that I think that there's a difference that he's just approaching the ball in the first and second set compared to later on in the match. Like there's just a little bit more gusto. Like his first step is a little bit more aggressive. He starts from just like a slight bit further back, and it's starting to shorten up a little bit, and he's less explosive, which means he's jumping earlier, and the ball ends up behind him a little bit. Once again, that's like was seeing a lot of him like reaching
backwards, which
yeah,
leads to the
which
conservatism and high hand shots. Yeah.
exactly. So I think like for me, that's when I'm seeing the little things in his game in terms of fatigue that is leading to him being a little bit more conservative.
Well,
But
if it is fatigue, he's got to figure it out because this is the Olympic Games, and you have 2 days off between now and our next match, and then we'll have 2 days off before the quarterfinal. Which I mean, Eric Shoji texted me after Canada's lost, and he said we're in. So he's been keeping track of all the scenarios. I think that we are now mathematically in. I'm not totally certain about that. I think we need at least one more point to feel good about it. I expect us to beat Japan. I really like our matchup against them coming up next. But yeah, if Matt's issue is fatigue, then he's got to figure it out. But I really don't think it is. I just think it's mentality, and that maybe that's something Sparral and Micah talk about getting him looks in places to turn his mentality and his confidence around towards more aggressiveness a little bit. I could see that. But I mean, we can wrap it up with this. We are we're 2-0 in the best pool in this tournament, and I feel good about that. And I feel great about the matchup against Japan, and I feel good about this team's chance to make a run, given the form that we're in right now.
I did say that whoever made out of this pool is going to be battle tested.
Right.
And I will say one more thing. Everyone's trying to drag me for thinking Jake Haynes is good. Jake Haynes is good. I have watched Jake Haynes now score 20 plus points at every level he's played at. It doesn't matter where he's got it done. I think he's a very serviceable player. I would take Jake Haynes any day over Gabby Garcia Fernandez. Is that right? Yeah, that's his name. I forgot his last name. I would take Jake Haynes over Gabby Garcia any day of the week. I think he's dependable. I think he can score in all situations. I think he's good. He's got a good serve. I think he's a good blocker. Sure, he doesn't jump the highest. He's not the most mobile, but he is a good overall volleyball player. And there's a reason that he plays in one of the best leagues in the world. And that's all I'm going to say.
Everett, can you promise me something that for the rest of the Olympic Games, you don't talk about Jake Haynes anymore? Because you're talking about the American third opposite position, and this is the Olympic Games. So who's the alternate for the Olympics? Is it an opposite?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I guess instinct.
About the American third opposite position, and this is the Olympic Games, and I'm done with this conversation now.
I agree with Paul Malinauskas. Jake Haynes is the most overhated player in this Discord, and I won't stand for it anymore, Rob St. Clair. But let's move on. Your team looks pretty good. I'm gonna be slowly cheering for you guys now. We'll get into it.
We look good. I feel good. I'm very excited for the Japan game because a lot will depend on how Japan looks against Argentina tomorrow, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think we have another great opportunity to put the world on notice on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. And why does Clifton Lawrence keep on coming in the chat? Like,
it's because it's the Gabby Garcia thing of switching from Puerto Rico. But again, we're talking about people so far down the depth chart, and this is the Olympic Games. That's a waste of time, and we're not going to waste any more time.